Hi, ladies. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Dana. Good morning, Stephanie. I'm really sorry I'm running late. I was trying to get this list taken care of because I'll explain a little bit more in detail in a minute, but they're actually putting some stamp sets on the clearance rack. So I was trying to make sure I had like as much information as possible. I was trying to do a graphic, but I'm going to have to actually print the graphic later and do it. So I promise I will show you guys that later. But hi, Vicky. Good morning, Erin. Hi, Pam. Nice to see everybody. Thank you all for joining me today. Oh, rainy New York, I'm very sorry for you. We have really hot weather here in Maryland, so hopefully that's moving your way. Hot and dry. It did really storm amazingly last night. Good morning, Donna. Thank you all for sharing. Hi, Shannon. Good evening from Australia. Thanks for joining. Good morning, Tammy. Okay, so this is the card we're going to make today, but I also want to show you something else with this. This is kind of like a slight case and modification from the catalog. I did this actually for my card class on Friday, my stamp club. And I have a couple tips for you about this, the Peacock folder. If you can see there, this I did with some shimmer. You can see there's a lot of shimmer on here. And then I used the Sparkle Black Embossing Powder for this. So we are going to make this card today, but before we get started, I just want to share a few things with you. So they are putting some stamps on the clearance rack, okay? So if you have a second, I'll leave this here. Don't mind my coffee that's sitting here. They never put stamps on the clearance rack, first off. So that's like a big deal. They've never done it in the past. They don't ever know if they're going to do it again. But, so these are the stamp sets. They are while supplies last. So you know what that means. If you don't get it, you don't get it. But I know there's a bunch of them here, specifically the Alpine Adventure stamp set. I know a lot of people have been waiting for that one. Takeout Treats, Beautiful Blizzard. And some of them, here's the thing, some of them are wood. So you're going to get what you get if that's the case. They have the Cauldron Bubble stamp set. Again, that's wood. Trick or Tweet, which I think was, I'm going to have to look some of these up myself. Actually, they have Trick or Tweet in clear or wood. There's some French stamp sets. There's a bunch of them. His Light, I've never even heard of that one, so I'm going to have to look some of these up. What I'm going to attempt to do is, when we're finished this video, and some of these are old as well, so I don't know if it's just maybe things they didn't get rid of. Spooky Sweets, Making Everyday Bright. I believe this is the one that everybody wanted that goes with that, like the lantern die. So pay attention just in case. Oh, you just spilled hot coffee. I got my coffee here in my grandmother's cup, if you can see how old that is. This is one of those old coffee pot style coffee cups. So be careful, Donna. My goodness, she got heard about clearance rack stamps and spilled her coffee all over her boob. And there we go. There's where that went. But basically, there's a lot of stuff that is going to be on the farmhouse stamp. I know a lot of people have been wanting that one, Tags and Tiding. So there's a lot of things that are going to be on here. So make sure you check. And they're saying tomorrow morning at 12:01 Mountain Time. So adjust accordingly. So that is 12:01 a.m., by the way. So that is 2:01 a.m. on the East Coast. Kind of crazy, I know. But I don't make the times up. So maybe worth staying up late, real late if you're into that. I'm not really sure. But anyway, I'm going to try to make a graphic and put it on my blog. That way you guys can actually see the pictures of these, because I think a lot of these are kind of old. So just want to let you know that's what's going on with that. What else? Also, that is tomorrow, which is the 26th, on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, which again on the East Coast will be 12 noon. The cutting blades are going to be back in stock. You're only going to be allowed to order 3 per order. So I know that's 2 different days of things, but I guess it depends on if you'd rather have stamp sets that maybe you couldn't get, or you'd rather have trimmer blades. So they are going to be available. The item number is 126995. And they, again, are while supplies last. They said that they would continue to try to bring them back again as they can. But they're also still working on a new trimmer. But if you're desperate for a trimmer blade, I guess that's better than something. Okay, so that's all I got. I'm not going to do any more. Let me move this out of the way so I don't drop this on my head. And I'm going to close that up. So we're going to make this really beautiful card today. And I have a few tips with, I did this ahead of time, but I do have a few tips for this. So with the new embossing folders, they're a little different. And it could just be because I have a pretty new Big Shot. It's only maybe 2 years old. Perennial Essence Vellum is on back order. That's not surprising. The 27th is Thursday. Is that right? You're right. Yeah. So tomorrow, you know why I'm thrown off? Because I usually do this on Wednesday. I forget it's Tuesday. So tomorrow, Wednesday, is when the stamp sets, and then Thursday are the trimmer blades. So thank you for clarifying that. Thank you. I don't know what day it is. Clearly, it's summer, and I never know what day it is anyway. But the beads and baubles, this is the stamp set that kind of goes with the peacock. So when I did foil paper, now granted, this is for foil only. Regular paper, it's fine. But when I did the embossing with the foil paper, so if you get the whole suite, you also get foil paper, which is gorgeous. You get 3 different colors. I found that when I did the traditional sandwich, it really made, this one it didn't do it in, but it made such a deep rivet in the paper that it actually was kind of tearing the paper a little bit. So I devised something different. I just kept running it through until I found what worked for me. So what I ended up doing was, again, this is only for foil paper. It's not for regular cardstock. So what I did was I used the Big Shot platform. I put my piece of foil in here. And I put 3 pieces of copy paper, printer paper, whatever it is you want to call it, folded in half. And I put it underneath, and then I just put 1 cutting pad, and it made a really nice embossed image, but without cutting it, because if you do it with both cutting plates, it puts so much pressure on it that it was kind of splitting the paper. But again, my Big Shot is fairly, I think it's only 2 years old, if that. So it is fairly new. So just kind of play around with it. Also, it did give a little bit of a bend to it, but it has since flattened out because the first time I ran it through, I did it the regular way. So just be mindful of that. Hello, Lisa. Thanks for stopping in. And I wanted to show you one other thing. I feel like I saved it in here somewhere. Where's the peacock? Here it is. So here's the peacock. I also used for this the smooth sailing dies. I actually cut out my greeting with this little guy here. So we're going to get started. This is a fairly simple card. There are a lot of really nice examples, especially when it comes to the suites in the catalog, because I think when they have the suites, they tend to give extra examples, which I think is really nice. And of course, my catalog is clear across the room. So I'm going to grab this for you. If you don't have a demonstrator and you would like a catalog, please send me your full mailing address with a zip code to rachthestamper@gmail.com. Be happy to send you one. Also, if you are a customer of mine, I will be setting up actually the holiday catalog. Believe it or not, will be coming out in August. So that's something new. But when you do go into this catalog, just for FYI, they have these kind of separated in the front. I'm going to keep that page. Into the suites so you can see. So the Royal Peacock bundle will kind of give you a little example, and then it'll tell you what page to go to find the full thing. So I kind of did where was my, oh, maybe I actually did, maybe I did think of this card on my own. I kind of did a combination of this and the peacock. Oh my gosh, guys, I thought of an original idea on my own. Can you believe it? I thought this was a gorgeous card too, with the peacock feathers cut out. It also, if you buy the suite, it has this specialty designer series paper, and it has like a foil finish, but it's got like a lifted image to it, for like a raised image, a slight raised image. So that's really pretty as well. So I'm going to show you what we did for this. Again, it was a couple steps, but for the most part, it was pretty simple. And when you buy this in the online store, when you go to my online store and buy this, if you buy it as a suite, it does give you a discount. And it's like if you get the whole suite, you do get a little bit of a discount as well. So that's pretty nice. And as always, when you shop with me, you'll always get a little extra. I just mailed out my extras, my thank yous and everything for June, even though I know June isn't over yet, because I felt like I was a little bit slacking, so I was trying to be a little bit ahead of the game. So what we're going to do is, I have some shimmer white paper, and then this is for the sentiment, and then I have a piece of Granny Apple Green, and I just kind of mirrored this, so I have the sentiment and the Granny Apple Green piece. This is the base. This is Bermuda Bay, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. Let me just scoot this out of the way. This was an extra. I'm actually, I think, either tonight or tomorrow, I have 2 neighbors who are going to be doing a redo class for this because they couldn't come to Friday's class. So we're going to do a 2.0 class. So what I did was, my only suggestion, and I'm actually, sorry this is so noisy, I'm actually going to get another one. This stamp set, the peacock and the background are rather large. So if you don't have block E, it really will be helpful for you to have block E because of the size of the stamp. I'm going to actually order another block E, as a matter of fact. And I have Coastal Cabana is what I did this with, Granny Apple Green, and Bermuda Bay. And then we just used Versamark for the greeting, for the sentiment there. So I'm going to do this first with Bermuda Bay. I know. Oh, you're so nice. Thank you, Linda. Linda said I was pretty talented. I do appreciate that, Linda. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm very talented, and then sometimes I kind of surprise myself because I'm like, oh, hey, look, I did think of an idea all on my own. So what I did with this was I kind of stamped the peacock. This is like the fill-in piece, and then I kind of laid this to find out where I did, because the first time I did it, I actually ended up trimming it down some. It was rather wide. So I kind of just stamped this like a couple ways. And I'm going to do the same for this one, so it's a little bit lighter. You can even do it the opposite way, because I did do that on the other one. So I brought like a little bit of the dot portion. Because again, most of it will be covered up in the center. I know that looks a little like, what the heck did I do there? But, so this piece, let me get out my ruler. I feel like it's 2 by 4. 2 by 4. I got to tell you what, stamping has really increased my visual math skills immensely. So this piece is 2 by 4. Again, this is the foil. This comes in the pack. So it's 3 different colors, and you get 3 sheets of each, I believe. So that's really nice. You have lots of stuff to work with. So what I did was I went ahead and embossed this. Again, I used the Beads and Bauble embossing folder, and then I used the base. I put this inside. I used 3 pieces of copy paper and 1 cutting pad to get it to look like this, because if you use both cutting pads, it's a little bit much. So there is that part. So that's pretty much all finished. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the peacock. It is a little bit tight to fit this peacock even on here, but I didn't want to go with the next biggest stamp because it was kind of almost like too huge. So if you fit it on, a little piece of your stamp will be off the edge, but it's not any part that's actually going to be something that you need to have. So what I did to start was I opened, and also I saw this the other day. I thought I'd share this with you guys. Dina Rico, if you guys watch her, she got to stamp with Sarah, and she was showing an easy way to open your stamp pads, which I never knew because I was always doing it this way. So PSA, thank you to Dina. You just push it down and it makes it open really simply. So I wanted this to kind of be light with the green. So what I did was I kind of really lightly just tapped around. Nothing major. So you can see there is not green all over that. It's just in spots. So that was Granny Apple Green. And then I'm going to use the Bermuda Bay, but I'm going to do Coastal Cabana first. And you can see, old habits die hard. I still don't know what I'm doing. So I have a remotely clean sponge. I think this is probably the one I used the other day to make the card with. And I'm just sponging some Coastal Cabana kind of randomly. And if you're worried about this contaminating your pad, boy, that was an accent. What you could do is you could take your clear block and you could dip it in here and dip the ink off of it, but I'm not really that worried about it. So you can see I'm being a lazy stamper. And then we're going to do the same with the Bermuda Bay. So take your sponge, and I kind of just went around. If you notice, and I did tell the ladies at the Stamp Club this, if you notice that there's any spots that have a line, just kind of like take your sponge afterwards and kind of blend it a little bit. Doesn't have to be much. Oh, pain in your thumb. That's terrible, Gail. Gail, we can't lose you because you are incredibly, incredibly talented. So you take care of your thumbs. So you don't really need to huffle in this because it is pretty wet still. So I'm going to just stamp this. It doesn't matter where. I just did a big enough piece to be able to stamp it onto this. All right, so there's that. So I'm going to wipe this off. And originally, I'm going to tell you, I didn't do it this way originally. Ooh, whoopsie. I didn't do it this way originally, but I did see someone do this in stamp class. So I thought for the second version, I'll do mine this way. That way we have two different finished versions so we can see what it looks like. So pull this one off. And then I'm going to grab that tail flourish again. And what I'm going to do is, I just have to decide what I want. So I have a lot of green. I'm going to do this in Bermuda Bay, just so it's like something darker. So I'm going to take my Bermuda Bay and just ink this up. And then I'm going to do my very best to line it up somewhat. And just stamp it to fill it in. Okay, so there is our peacock. Now this still isn't finished because we do still have to do a little bit more to it to make it extra sparkly and also just to kind of like increase the color. Once we cut it out, it'll have a little bit of white, so I just did this to make it look a little bit nicer. So just clean this off a little bit. Yeah, I wouldn't want surgery. I don't blame you. That's, oh, it's so dicey. Just never know what's going to come out of it. All right, so we are going to use So Very Proud of You. We're going to use that as our sentiment. So I'm just going to mount this just so I have it. And then I'm going to show you what else I did. So I did this now before I cut it. Okay, so just, you could do this whenever. You could wait. But I did it ahead of time. So I have a Stampin' Spritzer filled with, and a lot of people use this. This was filled all the way up. A lot of people use this. It's still halfway full at the class. So it has alcohol in it and frost white shimmer paint. And what I'm going to do is, I'm trying not to make it as wet as I did the other day. So that's why I'm trying to space out my space. Is I just held it up and I sprayed this. And believe it or not, what it did, it does curl a little bit, which is fine. What it did was it kind of blended the colors a little bit. So you'll see in a second. And let me tell you something else really not smart I did. Look. I took my, the Boss, because I wanted everybody at the party to see how cool it was. And when I put it in my bag, I broke it. So I broke it off here and here. So I Gorilla Glued it. So that's why it's not attached to this yet. So it's very durable, but apparently not up to necessarily Rachel standards. So I'm going to just turn this one setting 1 just to dry. Oh, I didn't even plug it in. So I did glue it, and then I thought, worst case scenario, I'm going to just, oops, worst case scenario, I'll just have to order another one. Yes, the colors in this set are really, really pretty. So I'm going to just heat this up just to kind of flatten it out again. And I'm going to tell you one other thing. That's pretty good. I don't really want to do it too much because it'll get a little wonky. You do need to be careful heating onto this Stampin' mat, because the other one that I have, if you heat it, it bubbles up a little bit, so not so good. But anyway, all right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut out the peacock. So I'm going to put my other sandwich back together. So this is just the original platform, the thin die adapter. I have my plate. I have my peacock. Where is my die? I believe I left it sitting right here. And now, of course, I can't find it. Oh, sweet Jesus. Hold on. It's got to be around here somewhere. Right here, behind me. So, a couple other things. There are some really pretty coordinating dies. This one cuts out a beautiful peacock, and it has little lifted parts in it. So, this is really, really pretty. But today, we're going to just use the frame just to cut it out like that. And I'm going to tell you, it definitely does not feel as hard as those other dies that we had. So you're going to feel like when you pull it out, you're going to be like, wow, this feels a little bit thinner. It definitely does feel thin. I will agree with you on that. However, and I'm kind of lining this up more to the body because I stamped this a little bit goofy, but it still does cut perfectly fine. I haven't had any problems with it thus far, but you'll definitely notice if you've used the other dies for a while that it definitely feels different. So this is just my regular old sandwich. I'm going to crank this through. Oh, please move my cup of coffee. No, I like to live on the edge, Gail. Didn't you know we were going to do a tea stained card party or coffee stain card? Did you guys ever do that when you were in grade school? When you made like your, whatever your historical document was and you had to spill tea all over? I remember that was like the most thrilling thing. So here's your peacock. That was so thrilling to be able to just dump something on something and not get in trouble for it. All right, so then what I did was I went back with just whatever ink I had, and I kind of sponged the edges just to get rid of that white a little bit. And I kind of flipped it around so I had like all different colors. So there's a little bit of Bermuda. I'm sure there's probably a little bit of green on here because I used this one the other day. And then I kind of just went and like filled in if there was anything that wasn't so dark. So now you have your flamingo, good Lord, your peacock. It's got the shimmer already on it, and then I just shimmer sprayed it. I don't know if that you can see that on there, but anyway. So there's what that looks like. So we're finished with that. Now I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So with the sentiment, you definitely need your embossing buddy. And I'm going to tell you one other funny story. I cannot believe how many people have never used an embossing buddy or something similar to this to cut down on static. Because the girls at the party, and these ladies are all very experienced, avid stampers. And some of them, like their words on it, they were all dusty and everything. And I said, why didn't you use that? They're like, oh, I've never even known about that. So if you don't have one, an embossing buddy cuts down on the static. Even if you think it's like, ooh, it's so humid, there's no static. It cuts down on the static on your paper, and it really, really does help. I just have to grab I have my trusty coffee filter, very well used, and the shimmer black embossing powder. And I tend to give this a shake because it has a lot of iridescent sparkles and stuff in it just to make sure it's pretty well mixed up. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my heat tool, even though it's not fastened to something, just to get it started. So I ink this. I'm going to stamp that. That's Versamark. I'm going to take my embossing powder. I would highly suggest you open this over something because even when you think you have it all back in there, it tends to spill. You see it's really shimmery. And I'm going to give it a good flick. And look how crisp that is. You have this teeny little spot here. So I do always keep a little paintbrush handy just to brush off if there's any little spots that you might have missed. So that looks pretty good. So I'm going to set this here for a second. See if I can pour this in without a wreck. Okay. Right, and if you guys see, I did my nails special just for you. I was, yesterday morning, I had some time, and I was like, I'm gonna paint my nails. That way they won't look so cruddy in case I dig in the dirt. All right, I think that looks pretty good. All right, so I have my So Proud of You. I'm gonna give this just a second to cool down. And then we're gonna cut this out, and we're gonna cut this out, and I used the same shape. Again, this is from the, I believe it's called Sailing Away dies. Let me just make sure I'm telling you correctly. Smooth Sailing dies. So that is the nautical set. So we're gonna cut this out. And I know it's going to be a little bit crooked on the paper, but you can always adjust this, like kind of like I did to it. So we're going to cut that out. Where's my little piece of paper? I'm going to stick that here. And then this one will just cut out just like that. So I'm going to run both of these through the Big Shot. Only thing would be better is if we had two of these shapes in one box, and then we could just do both of them at the same time. But at least we're getting more shapes in than we used to, so that's good. You okay? Yeah. Okay. The Rainbow Stamper is in the next room playing. It sounds like he's putting together an erector set, but we don't have an erector set, so I don't really know what he's doing in there. All right, so there's one. And then I'm just going to do the same for this one. Just make sure it stays in place. Whoops. Just ran that through again. Hi, Rhonda. You remember this? Guess what else we did on Friday? We also made a card. It's, you know what I should start calling them when we're at the stamp club is challenges, because since I'm challenged to remember to bring things because I forgot a major component for the die, like a ding dong. That's the best thing I can say on here without this video being erased. And so the girls at the stamp club, this happened one other time, I forgot the dies, so they had to improvise and make their best card possible with only half of the supplies. It's embarrassing, really. This is ridiculous. The missing die card. It was the Magnolia one. I was trying to show them how to do you guys remember when we made the die with the Magnolia cutout, and we called it Floating Frame Plan B? I believe someone came up with that. So I was like going to show them how to use it, and then I forgot the dies. What a moron. So I'm going to just use my sponge again, and I'm just switching around so I get different colors. Just sponging the edge of this. It's always an adventure if you're in my stamp club, and I should constantly apologize to people because you just never know what you're going to get. So if you can see, it's like an ombre because you have a little bit of green, some Bermuda Bay, Coastal Cabana kind of all spread around. So there is that. So now all I have to do is grab my gems, and we will put this card together. So I know, you know what, Gail? It's like and the place we went, wait till you guys see this. I do have to do a video and show you. Jamie has like Michael's, but it's really her craft room. It's amazing. It's so organized, and she has everything, but she didn't have that because she didn't buy the two things. She didn't buy one of the stamp sets yet, and she didn't have the Magnolia dies because she has pretty much everything else from ever. Like, I mean, really from ever. You guys would have loved all the ink pads she had. Bashful Blue, Taken with Teal, Handsome Hunter. I said, oh my gosh, people would die if they saw all the ink pads that you have. It was absolutely amazing. So amazing. All right, so now, oh sweet heavens, of course I can't find my gems. All right, let me just put this together. We're gonna put this together in the meantime. You know me, I'm gonna use my good old fast fuse here. So Rhonda, who is on here now, what Rhonda did was she actually snipped hers in half and then put half above and half below, which is another cool idea. And if I'd have thought of that a moment sooner, I would have done that. But I just kind of offset mine a little bit. So what I did was I kind of lined up the corner and the corner here. Just like that. And then I'm going to put, those are tiny ones, I want big ones. I'm going to put some dimensionals on. You can see I'm at the end of my dimensional pile there. And put two more on to my dimensionals. I have been using my take your pick tool to pop off the backs of these, and it's been super, super helpful. So another good tip. I will tell you one other thing, and I haven't really unpacked because I still may be doing that class over this evening, so that's why everything is kind of all still in the stamp, in the boxes. You definitely want to use Tombow for this because it sticks much better with the foil. And by the way, Rhonda, I think I might have your Tombow. I think I somehow packed it. And if I had these in the dispensers, these Tipsies, they would already be at the bottom here. So I'll put that in here. That way I have it. Gail is still waiting for me to slosh that coffee cup over. It might happen, Gail. You never know. And then I'm going to also put, what I did was, let me show you this because it was simpler. I went ahead and did this because it was easier. I used the foam strips instead of dimensionals because you can use a lot more of them. So what I did was, I just pulled the foam strips. The only thing you have to remember is you cannot interchange foam strips and dimensionals because they're different heights. So if you're going to use dimensionals for something, use dimensionals. If you're going to use foam strips, use foam strips, but just don't use them together. But it was nice because you can kind of angle it. You can see that. You can angle it there, and then you get a really big piece. Really nice. You can still use the sides here, like you would on your other dimensional strips. All right, and I think I just put a couple more. I'm going to snip this other one down here. And I'm going to do just a little bit in a couple places just so it sticks up. But I thought this was a lot easier than putting 5,000 dimensionals because that way you just have a good base. It's almost as if you could probably also do those fun foam. That would be another good idea. This one's just a little bit too big. I'm going to cut this one in half. Put one here. Gail, looks like you had a super vacation on your last trip there. Looks like you enjoyed your time off, which is amazing. These are much easier to pull the backing off of as well. So if you struggle with, except on this little one, if you struggle with getting your backing off, the backing does come off of these much simpler. Plus, if you do really long strips, you don't have to do it 50,000 times. You can just do it 5 times. And I'm sure when class is done here, I will remember where my little gems are. I'm still going to look for them for a second. Should have got my paper piercer. That's what I've been using, my paper piercer, not my take my pick tool, because that one is a just make sure all those are on there. Nope, this one came off. That one has a pokey end to it. The take your pick tool is the stylus. So we're going to kind of like eyeball where we want this again. I'm just setting it down loosely. I'm not doing anything. I kind of, actually this one I did end up putting it behind. I put this one flat. So this one has both of them popped up. Just like that. I think I like where that is. So I'm just going to give that a nice press. So there's that. So you can look at the differences between these two. There's not really too much. I kind of just laid these a little bit different. While I look for my gems real quick. Yeah, they're in here somewhere. Surprised I didn't have them like on lockdown, because they were my fave. This is the, I think one of the coolest cards we made. Probably also since I had the supplies. Makes it a little bit cooler. So here are these are the Peacock rhinestones. So we're just going to add a couple of these. And I did use the tinier ones because I thought they were cuter than the big ones, but you could use whatever ones you like. So just improvising. I'm just gonna, I put like one of each color on. Oh no, that one lost its back. Hold on. little surgery on this one. Here we go. Just put some different colors on there. And a blue one. Oh, and one other thing I forgot. If you guys have never used these before, these are called envelope addressing pens. I found these on Christina Werner's site. They're really great. They're waterproof, completely waterproof. So you have to make sure whatever you want to stay is going to stay because you can't get it off. So what I did was I just did the peacock's eye with this. And they have these in extra fine. You can get these on Simon Says Stamp. That's the only place I've found them. So I just did the peacock's eye. So it'll be really, really black. So that's it. So these are pretty similar, maybe like slight differences because I didn't add that extra flourish on this one and I did on this one, but really pretty. And so again, I did a sample card, I did this card, so that's 2, and then I had 6 people in class and they all put gems on and we still have plenty of these left. So definitely can stretch it for a lot for that as well. You know what's funny because Karen, I love the peacock thing because it's so pretty, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, honestly. There's so many more beautiful cards, even just that I've seen, but also just in the catalog. But I love the colors of it. The Bermuda Bay, and then the green, and I think I feel like the other one is purple, the foil. Let me pull it out. Because that is just gorgeous. The foil, between the foil and the, I'll show you the other paper that comes with it too. So here is the paper. So as you can see, it's got like a shiny flourish to it. So there's that one. And then you have this, which is really pretty. And then there is, I believe, a green. And then there's like a green leaf. So these are really pretty. You get 4 sheets of each. So you get 16 sheets in this. So this is a lot. It is 12 by 12. And then for the foil, I believe they didn't really call these a specific color, but I would definitely say this one was Bermuda Bay. That's the one I used. And then you have it's kind of a cross between like Blueberry Bushel and Night of Navy. It's very dark, but it's really, really pretty. And then I feel like there's still one. Yes, and then there's like a granny limey one. And again, these are also 12 by 12. So these are really big sheets. So you can make a lot of stuff. So I think for that, I made, and I still have plenty of this left. So I cut these into 4-inch strips, and then I cut them into 2. Actually, the first card I cut into the wrong size, so that one was a little bit bigger. But we made 6, 7, 8 cards out of this, and I only used like a half of a sheet. So that's pretty cool as well. So it definitely stretches pretty far. So when you order this in my online store, you will get, like I said, you get a discount because you do get the 10% discount, even though it seems, I actually did the math for it. You do get the discount on the stamp set and the die, and then when you bundle everything together, I think you save like $5. So that's not really so bad. So, and I agree with you 100%, Tina. We need way more 12 by 12 DSP. I have put it in the sandbox, which is the suggestion box. I promise, though, I will do it again because I agree with you 100%. People who want to be scrappers, or people who are scrappers, or people who like to make projects like 12 by 12, myself included. I'm not a big scrapbooker, but I use 12 by 12 for so much stuff. Plus, it's so much more economical as well. So, again, these spritzers, these come in 2 packs. You fill them with alcohol. You could fill them with, you could fill it with the shimmer paint, and you could put a color in it, or you could just put a color in it. They're really great for adding like a spritz of something to anything. And then all you have to do is just clean it out. With the ones that have the shimmer paint in them, I would only use these for shimmer paint. So if you were going to do that, I would probably stick with just like a shimmer section. But if you're going to do it with colors, you just dump it out, spray it till it runs clean, add in some alcohol, add in some color. You can do water, but the water gets funky really fast. So I tend to like to do alcohol also because it dries faster. So definitely much better on like drying and making things not wonky, because you can see even after that dried, I just heated it for a second, it is flat, so it doesn't have any like funny wonkiness to it. And then the other thing I did, and I don't think I did it for this because for some reason I feel like I didn't have it on the inside, but you could also, I think on the inside of this one, we just stamped one of the nice sentiments. They had, the other one was, so very proud of you. They have an exciting future full of new adventures or an amazing accomplishment. And I just did that in Bermuda Bay on the inside of that one. Does this one have it? Maybe I forgot. Yeah, there it is. Here's to an exciting future full of new adventures. So really simple card. I mean, really wasn't that much work. You could definitely bang out a lot of these if you wanted to make them for like congratulations cards or whatever the case may be. But the other thing is I'm going to attempt one day this week to make a card with the peacock that has the cutout, because this was really, really pretty. And I also love this feather. So really, really, really nice. It was very easy to do. And you do get, you only get one peacock feather, but you do get 2 of these, actually 3 of these, and then 2 of these. And these would cut out the little flowers. So if you wanted to stamp a bunch of those flowers, you could stamp them and cut 2 of them out at a time, which I think is super helpful. So I'm really glad that that's changed. But anyway, thank you all so very much for joining me today. I hope you found this helpful. I did also post, in case you missed it, if you don't follow me on YouTube for any reason, I also posted a way to really quickly mount your cling mount stamps. It was not my idea. I found it somewhere, and then I just thought since I had a new stamp set, I would do it again. Really easy, so make sure you check that out on YouTube. I did like a quick video. It doesn't have anything else in it except how to do those stamps, maybe like a couple other little tips, but that's it. So really easy if you want to watch it on how to get your stamps lines up really well. And that's about it. So I will try to be back again one day this week with either a new video or a new live, depending on what I can or can't fit in. And I will see you guys otherwise next Tuesday back here at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will try to get those stamp sets posted so you can see pictures of what might be on there. Again, remember that's tomorrow, which is Wednesday. And then on Thursday is the trimmer blade. That is at 10, is that right? 10:01? Hold on, I just want to tell you one more time, just in case you missed it. I know you can go back and watch it, but I'm trying to make it easy for you. Let's see. It is the trimmer blades are at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So if you're on the East Coast, that's noon Mountain Time that you can order them. And then you just adjust accordingly depending on where you are in the States or whatnot. But again, if you guys need a demonstrator, love to be your demonstrator. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, you can always send me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. You can find me on my online store, rachthestamper.stampinup.net. You can shop 24/7. And also, you'll find lots and lots of information and pictures and everything on my blog, which is rachthestamper.com. So I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you real soon. And Gail, I didn't even spill my coffee. Bye.